guys, Aubrey here from Real Housemoms, and today I'm sharing with you my family's recipe for Syrian rice. My family on my mom's side is Lebanese, and there's a very rich food culture there because the food is amazing. So every holiday my family has made Syrian rice. It's a super simple dish to make and it's amazing. So I'm going to share it with you guys. So we're going to start by melting a stick of butter into our pot. The pot's on medium right now. We're going to let that butter melt. And then we're going to add in pine nuts and spaghetti. Now this is about 1/4 pound of spaghetti, so I got a pound package. I just took about 1/4 of it. This is one of those family recipes that nobody's ever had measurements, so you're trying to come up with measurements based on things. Anyway, it's about 1/4 package of pasta, of spaghetti, that we then just broke in half. And then this, the recipe came to me, is 2 handfuls of pine nuts. It's about a cup, maybe a little more. We love pine nuts, so I don't think you can go wrong with having more pine nuts in there. And then we have 4 chicken bouillon cubes that we'll put in and kind of break up, let them dissolve into the butter. And then 2 cups of rice. This is basmati rice. I like to use that. I usually get a giant thing of it at Costco. But you can use whatever rice you want to use. I typically like to make sure that it's a long grain rice. And then we have cinnamon. Don't be fooled by the cinnamon in this recipe. It's not a sweet recipe, it is a savory rice recipe. But if you've had Middle Eastern food before, you're familiar with the fact that cinnamon goes into a lot of savory dishes. There's no sugar, so there's nothing to sweeten it up. It just adds a real warm spice to the flavor of the recipe. And that's it. It couldn't be any more easy. So the butter is about there, so we're going to go ahead and add in our pine nuts. Let them start to toast up. Ooh, 2 got away. And then we're going to add in our spaghetti noodles, and I kind of spread them out so they get in there. They're not the easiest things because they're so stiff at this point. And then our cinnamon. We're going to do about 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. One year my mom thought she grabbed my cinnamon, but she grabbed my cumin. It was a very different flavor that year. It wasn't bad, it just wasn't Syrian rice. So we've got this going away. Everything starts to get real dark with the cinnamon. Try and kind of stir it around and let that toast up. And while that's going, I like to crush up my bouillon cubes with my fingers, just to make sure that you don't end up with like a pocket here and there of the chicken flavor. I usually make my rice with chicken stock so that it has more flavor, but this recipe I stick with the family recipe and I go chicken bouillon. And I'm not adding any additional salt just because we are using the bouillon. You don't really need it in here. All right. So now we have messy fingers. We'll put some of these bowls aside. My mom used to tell us as kids that she used to call the spaghetti noodles worms. And you'd think for normal people that would turn them away, but as kids you love to eat worms, right? So we didn't have a problem. Did anybody notice that? The spaghetti just hit me straight in the eye. All right. So we didn't have a problem with the worms, and now my kids call it the worm spaghetti or worm rice and love it. So I'm just adding in the rice now, kind of giving it a stir. It's not the easiest to stir. Like I said, it's like stiff spaghetti noodles at this point. But we're gonna go ahead and add 4.5 cups of water right in. Make sure everything is kind of submerged in the water, all those spaghetti noodles that are trying to stand up here on us. And we'll cover it, bring it up to a boil, and then reduce the heat, just like if you were cooking a traditional rice. And then once that's been cooking for about 20-30 minutes, as long as all the water has been absorbed by the rice and the spaghetti noodles, you're good to go and you can serve it up. So we've already got some over here. And you can see the amazing dark brown color and the nice dark color of the pine nuts and our spaghetti noodles. When you cook this, the rice tends to sink to the bottom and the noodles and the pine nuts come up to the top. So you're gonna stir it around after it's had a chance to cook, but the buttery flavor and the toasted pine nuts and the cinnamon on the everything just tastes incredible. So That is the holidays to me. That's one of my favorite dishes. If you like this recipe, make sure to follow along with us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos. This recipe is on realhousemoms.com, and I'll link to the specific recipe down below. And if you like this video, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. Tell me about your family recipes. What do you guys typically eat at Thanksgiving that's not normal, or not traditional, I should say, in a normal American family or a typical American family? Anyway, I hope you guys are getting ready to have a fantastic Thanksgiving, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.